Okay, LoneStar P, it says describe each model with a decimal, fraction, and a mixed number. So if I look at this, this is 1 whole and 5 tenths. 1 and 5 tenths. As a fraction, it is 10, 15 shaded, and each model has 10 in it, so 15 over 10. And then the mixed number would be 1 and 5 tenths. Okay, so the decimal for this one would be 1 and 3 tenths. The fraction would be 10, 13 over 10, because there's 10 in this one and then 3 over here. And then the fraction, the mixed number, sorry, would be 1 and 3 tenths. All right, for this one, 1 whole, and there's 9 out of 10 shaded, so 1 and 9 tenths. All right, which means there's 10 plus 9 is 19 shaded, and there's 10 in each model. And then the mixed number would be 1 and 9 tenths. All right, that's A. B says describe the model with a number sentence. So this is 2 wholes. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 9 tenths shaded. You could even say 10, 20, 30. You could say 29 tenths if you were looking at improper fractions. All right, this one, okay, this is the total. So now we have to add the 3 fractions together. This one is 10 over 10. This one is 10 over 10. And this one is 9 over 10. So if we're adding those up, 10, 20, 29, and the denominator is 10. So the denominator stays the same. So it would be 29 tenths, which converts to 2 and 9 tenths. All right. C says determine if each fraction is closer to 0, 1/2, or 1 whole. All right, so 1 over 9. 1 is closer to 0, so that would be closer to 0. 4 over 6. Half of 6 is 3, so I would say 4/6 is closer to 1/2. 4 over 5. 4 is very close to 5, so I would say 4/5 is close to 1 whole. 6 tenths. Well, half of 10 is 5, so 6 tenths I would say is close to 1/2. 5 over 12. Half of 12 is 6, so I would say 5 is close to 1/2. 17 over 18. Well, 17 is very close to 18, so I would say 17/18 is closer to 1 whole. D, describe each point with a decimal. Well, if you're looking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's 5 tenths. So that would be 10, 15, 20, 25. Counting by 30s, by 5s, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 70, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95. So it's counting by 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths, 5 tenths, 6 tenths, 7 tenths, 8 tenths, 9 tenths, 10 tenths, or 10 hundredths. All right. So this one right here would be 5, 6, 7 tenths. 30, 31 hundredths, 55 hundredths. This is 70, so if I go back 1, that would be 69 hundredths. And this one would be 95 hundredths. Oh, sorry, you can't see it. 95 hundredths. All right, so let's look at number 1. The dot plot shows the amount of fruits and vegetables that 18 children ate yesterday. Each dot represents 1 child. And then it says how many children ate between 1/10 and 4/10 kilograms of vegetables. Okay, so we're looking between 1/10 and 4/10. So that means 1/10 and 4/10. So all you're going to do is count the dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 children. All right, number 2, look at the diagram. What is the weight of the circle? Okay, we want to know the weight of the circle in units. Well, the rectangle is 40, and there's 2 pyramids over here. Well, if there's 2 of them, we're going to just split it in half. So if this is 40, that means each one of these is going to be 20 units. Okay, which means if there are 20 here, this one is going to be 20. So if I know that the pyramid is 20, and the whole trapezoid over here is 32, what's the circle going to be? All right, so you would say 32 minus 20, which would be 12. The circle is 12. All right, number 3, 31 students went on a study trip to a museum. Each student brought $19 to buy an admissions ticket and a souvenir. Estimate the total amount of money the students brought to the museum. So we're looking for the estimated amount they brought. There was 21 students. It's written in words, but it's still a number that we need to know. Okay, 21 students. Each brought $19. So that would be 21 times 19. But it said estimate. So we're going to estimate 21 students to be 20 students. And we're going to estimate $19 to be $20. So then all I have to do is multiply 2 times 2, and that's 4, and then add 2 zeros. So they bought an estimate of $400. All right, number 4, Mrs. Delgado has 318 yards of fabric. She can make 1 quilt with about 8 yards of fabric. Estimate the number of quilts she can make with the amount of fabric she has. So there's that word estimate again. The number of quilts she can make. All right, so we know she has 318 yards of fabric. She can make 1 quilt with 8 yards. All right, so if I took 318 and divided by 8, that's how I would solve it, right? But it's got that word estimate. So when we are looking at estimation, we have to take into account what we're dividing by. So I know 8 is a single digit number. I'm not changing that. Okay, so what I need to change is my dividend. So I'm going to look. 8 doesn't go into 3 evenly. So I'm looking at 31. So I'm going to estimate 31 to something that 8 can go into evenly. So if we look at 8, 16, 24, 32. Okay, and then of course the next one would be 40, but that's going to be too big. I'm looking at this number 31. I've got 21 in front of it and 32 behind it. Which is closer to 31? I would say 32. So I'm going to estimate 318 to be 320. Now I can make this an even answer. 8 will go into 32 4 times. 32 minus 32 is 0. Bring down that 0. 8 will go into 0 0 times. So she can make about 40 quilts. Okay, if I would have done 318 divided by 8, I would have had a remainder. This way I have no remainder because we're looking for an estimate. All right, and the last one. A chef placed 3 8/10 grams of peppers and 8 5500 grams of salt in a pot of soup. How many more grams of salt than pepper did the chef place in the pot? So it says, how many more grams of salt than pepper? So 3 8/10 grams of pepper, 8 5500 grams of salt. So this is a straight just subtraction problem. I want to know how many more, right? Well, I know that the bigger number has to go on top, so the bigger whole number is 8. So I'm going to do 8 5500, and I'm going to subtract 3 8/10. And I'm going to fill in the hole with a 0. 5 minus 0 is 5. 5 minus 8 would give me an a negative number. So I have to borrow. So 8 becomes 7 and 5 becomes 15. All right, 15 minus 8 is 7. Bring down the decimal. All right, and then 7 minus 3 would be 4. So 4 and 75 hundredths. Okay, how many more grams of salt than pepper? He put 4 and 75 hundredths more grams of salt than pepper. All right, and that is it for today.